One's a Chiefs fan, the other's a Pats fan, and together they make Primetime Dimes.
What's up, my fellow football fanatics? Welcome back to episode 9 of Primetime Dimes, your weekly source for surviving the offseason and breaking down the headlines during the season. I'm one of your hosts, Chelsea, and with me as always is Milton. And we have a very special guest with us today whose voice you may recognize. Emma is joining us on the show today. Hi, Emma.
Hi. Thanks for having me. Thanks for calling me your special guest. Great intro.
It's not every day that we have, the person who voices our intro in studio. Well, I guess in their house on a call.
You guys really had me living my best Gossip Girl moment. It was awesome.
That's why it's recognizable.
Can you voice over my whole life? That would be great.
That would be kind of
Chelsea would not want that.
Would you be the type of voiceover that's like completely judging the person you're voicing, like the character you're following? Like, is it, if you're doing this for Chelsea, is it you go girl type attitude, or is it what the fuck were you thinking there, man?
I think Chelsea knows that I'm like the tough love giver. Like, I just kind of say it how it is a lot of the time, especially to my friends. That means so much to me. And I think I would be that voiceover. It's like, Chelsea said she wouldn't text him back, yet here she is texting him back.
In my
Another
head,
episode
I was literally thinking of I just want like a recording of you saying, and in that moment, she knew she fucked up. Like, that's what I picture you narrating my life as. Like, I told her not to do it, but she did it anyways.
And in this quick flashback, we see Chelsea going down on the field, her knee completely injured. Now, flash forward to 6 hours later at the bar, dancing on the tables, knee wrapped up, but she's good to go. I could definitely, Chelsea, oof, I don't think you want that.
That would have been great in that moment, though. If you don't know, that actually happened, but
Oh, yeah.
Worth the Selly.
Hell yeah. But yeah, I'm very happy to have you on this show today. I'm sure Milton is as well.
Very much.
I see you're wearing a Chiefs hat, and I just want to say that this was at no influence of mine.
I should leave.
Best birthday present ever.
I think this is the oddest story behind liking a team ever, so I will let you tell it.
Okay, yeah. So I was never huge into football. No shade to the CFL, but the NFL is a million times more entertaining. So growing up in Canada, having the CFL, it was kind of hard to get into the sport. I have been to a few Red Blacks games. They're always a fun time. I've been to one NFL game, and there is absolutely no comparison. I don't think there ever will be, unfortunately. But yes, there you go. There it is.
Hey.
There it is. So I know these girls from university, of course, and we have our own fantasy league. And Chelsea was really adamant that I join the fantasy league. I've always been really big into sports. I played flag football in high school, and so I finally agreed. I joined the fantasy league, and I actually was in Toronto by myself with a friend for dinner when our first draft ever happened, and I had no idea what I was doing. I didn't understand the ranking system. I didn't even know all the positions. I didn't know how many people had to pick up for what. Oh, as any girl,
I just kind of threw you in there. I was like, come on,
yeah, we didn't do well. We didn't set them up for success.
Yeah,
you're awful.
So, my boyfriend wasn't there. I couldn't call anyone. It was all happening so fast too. And at that season, I think we were a 12-person league. So imagine if we were 10-person, like it would have been even faster. And I think I would have just been so panicked. I can see all these people picking up different positions, different players. And I'm like, what is happening? So I'm like, well, they're in a list in a certain order. So I guess this order matters to a certain extent. And I'm going through. And finally, I get around to the point of picking a kicker. And I'm going through the list. And I land on Harrison Butker. And I'm like, you know what? Just completely jokingly, I'm like, he looks like a good little Christian boy. why not? I have full faith in him. Like, look at this beautiful little man. And so that was my joke, was Harrison Butker, my good little Christian boy. I knew nothing of him. I had never heard of him. In fact, I didn't.
In the league, Emma.
Literally, yeah. See, that's what I'm saying. Like, going into fantasy, I was not following the sport at all. And fantasy opens me up completely to the sport of football. So, contrary to popular belief, because people will be like, oh, you're a Mahomes bandwagoner. Absolutely not. Mahomes is fantastic, and I think that team is so fortunate to have him. I think he's an incredible leader.
Yeah.
He is. Milton, he is amazing, and you know it.
No, I'm just dying over the fact that you chose a team based off of its kicker and
like,
it being a
that's
good
what
little
started-
Christian boy.
That's how I landed on the Chiefs.
And then this started like, because the year before was our first, I think that was the first, you joined the second year. And our first year, like, I took Butker because I was like, oh, I want like my team's kicker. And and the second year that was like, I usually take, like, my goal was to usually take him. And then you came on and just picked him. And I was like,
I remember
Like,
that.
she doesn't even know what
Listen.
she's doing. And then so, I guess was it last? Not
You
last.
stole him from me last year.
I stole him from her last year.
year.
So now we have this like back and forth of stealing the kicker from each other.
I-
And I remember because I had the pick right before you, and I remember going into the chat being like, Emma, I'm so sorry. And you're like, about what? And then I took him and you were just like, fuck you.
I was so mad. I was like, my team name is Butker Me Up. How could you do this to me? It is set in stone. So I went with
Yeah,
Faith,
No,
I'm
you
not
got to
one of
make
those
the
people that
name.
names. I don't name my team after my players. I typically go for like a name I think is funny or that I really like. But I think I'll be sticking with it's Mam Newton again because that one, I love that one so
Oh,
much.
I
one
wait
was-
till
no,
I
that
draft,
one was really good.
and then I
No,
name.
I can't.
So like
can't.
I will name it. I'll find a funny one based off of the names on my team. So like at one point, I don't even remember half of mine, let alone my most recent one. But normally it will
I
be.
remember you had one that had to do with
Tampa.
science.
Oh yeah, it is Tampa Bay. So at that
Yeah,
point, I
Tampa
just
Bay.
found it
Last
hilarious
year.
that he had moved over to Tampa and was using Tampa Bay. So I was like, yeah, I gotta. I'm on. Let's go.
Actually, I did find one that I kind of want to use as a diss to Brady this year, so I might do it. But we'll see.
Yeah, okay. Keep
I'm
dissing
looking forward
Brady,
to
and
it.
I will keep
I know,
mocking you
never-
as he wins Super Bowls over your fucking Mahomes.
It never works out in my favor.
Never. I'm always here laughing in the end until my guy retires, because like, if he retires, like he's gonna retire soon. That will be a sad day, but it'll be a happy day for you guys.
I am excited to play fantasy with you guys again this year, and I know Milton has a burning question to ask us about this year's fantasy.
Yes. Okay. So we keep talking about stealing, or you guys going back and forth with the kicker. But what I care about is, do you guys know what quarterback you guys will be drafting in the upcoming year?
I've known for months. Like, I pretty much have known since the end of last season who I want this year, because Lamar Jackson did me so dirty last year, and I was like distraught. I could not believe what happened last year in fantasy with him. Anyways, moving on from that, yes, I know absolutely who I want to pick. You guys know?
Yep. How about you, Chels?
I know, but this is because if Rafaela pulls what she did last year and takes Patrick Mahomes in the first round,
Which
Right?
why you
so
don't
I'm
take
already-
a quarterback that high?
so
Everybody
I'm
knows
already
you
like
don't
just
do that.
assuming he's like not a pick. Do you want me to say mine first?
Here, I'm gonna write mine.
Okay.
Proof to the camera. I have paper and I have pen, and I'm gonna write
We're
it.
doing like a 3, 2, 1 countdown.
And
Are
then
we all gonna write it? Are we all gonna write it down?
Chelsea, because Emma knows hers.
Yeah.
Chelsea, I'm pretty sure I have an idea what yours is.
Okay. Well,
But-
it's not Watson.
Yeah, exactly. So
Which it usually
Chelsea?
I'm like, I want to get Watson.
who are you aiming to get? What
Well, like
quarterback?
I said, I'm assuming that Patrick Mahomes is off the table because Rafaela likes to take him in the first round. So, my next one would be Herbert.
Yeah, absolutely.
No!
No,
Justin
no!
Herbert.
Oh,
And I'm like,
draft order is gonna look like.
yeah, exactly. So that means he's free game, right, guys? Because we all want him.
Yeah.
Okay.
No.
I did not think that both of you guys were going to say Justin Herbert. Here I am thinking I'm like so smart last season. Like, I got this in the bag. They're not going to take him. I'll take him early on. I'm not going to pull a Rafaela. That was insane. First round. I love your Raf. But first round.
I was pretty shook when she did that. I was like, who takes a quarterback in the first round? But
Yeah.
Well,
it's so
especially
funny 'cause I think like that too. And it's like you think, oh, I'm the only person who like knows that this person's gonna be great this year. I think I'm being so sneaky that like I know this like there's like a sleeper you know about that no one else knows about. Everybody else knows about them, and I've come to learn that the hard way.
yeah, but like my thing is like I might go for him. I might try and compete for him with you guys. Who knows? It will depend on the draft order, or I might just let it pass. Like, and then because like really what matters are your wide receivers, your running backs, your tight ends. Yes, the quarterbacks put up points. Don't get me wrong. Like that is 30 points depending on what type of league you play.
Yeah.
There are a lot of quarterbacks. There are a lot of quarterbacks out there. There aren't a lot of high producing running backs, high producing tight ends, high producing wide receivers. And since typically
I always
people
fail at the running back.
And you only have
pick too many wide receivers and not enough running backs.
Yeah, and you only have one quarterback on the field at a time for fantasy.
I know there are some leagues that I know people play in where they have two quarterbacks, and I think that is just far too stressful, especially if we end up playing with 12 girls this year, which we might, to try and find two quarterbacks within, so that's 24, right? Am I doing my math right? 12,
yeah.
24? Yeah. 20 to pick 2 out of 24 quarterbacks. Like someone in there is not going to be getting a top quarterback as their start, like as their
and then
first
injuries.
One. So yeah, on top of that, I don't know how people do that. I don't know how people do dynasty leagues. I like our fun little change it up every year leagues. I can't do it. Are you in a dynasty league?
I was. I'm not anymore. I had Tom Brady for like the span of 2004 to 2009 or something. 2010. Yeah, I had him just the tail end of the first dynasty, so 04, and then I made it to 2010. Then we stopped the dynasty league, and then we started again in 2015. And because then I still had Tom Brady. We kept the dynasty league the same, except for we had a draft order to make up for picks that you had retirements, right? Because like Hines Ward was no longer a receiver in the league. Like he wasn't in the league anymore. So why was I going to get penalized for having him on my team and then him retiring while we were not carrying on the league? So that's where we went into a draft order. But we stopped doing it last year. I got too busy.
I feel like it's like a lot, especially because like you really have to look at the rookies coming in too for your draft, and that's all you can draft from is like it's an act like you're actually in the NFL draft. Like this is your class, this is all you can pick from. Whereas in our league we're picking from anyone in the league, and we don't have any keepers. We don't, but we do have a lot of like points. Like we put points for almost everything.
Yeah, it's frustrating at times. Like I'm cool.
Is.
I'm terrible at our fantasy league. But it's just
very
like
unpredictable.
Yeah, I also have had the unfortunate thing of not being able to actually draft my team live with you guys the last 3 times. Right?
Make sure this happens this year. Conkle is like determined. She's like, nobody is auto drafting this year. She hated waiting the full 2 minutes for someone to pick.
Guys, I was literally, because we had to do ours midday, I was technically, again, please don't fire me, work. I was working while in the process of purchasing a new vehicle. So I was on the phone with insurance, and I had been on hold for 3 hours. So when that man answered, right as our draft started, I was like, oh no, of course this is happening. There's nothing I can do. So I called Will at work, and I like did a 3-way call and was like, I'm really sorry. I don't understand everything that you're saying right now. If you could just talk to my boyfriend, like that'd be great. But the reality was I just really wanted to focus on the draft, and I was so stressed because things were kind of flying through, and
Because I remember
then
you
it
jumping
was
like it
so
was
bad.
like Emma has left, Emma has joined, Emma has left because it tells you in the
Yeah,
chat if someone
yeah.
comes in to the room, and I was like, what is going on? And then in the midst of all that, you text me like, bro, the insurance company is on the phone right now.
Honestly, like if I thought the first draft I did was stressful just because I didn't know what I was doing at all, I found this one was even more stressful because I actually had a list of players that I wanted to draft, right? Like I had a better sense of the teams. I had a better sense of I wasn't really knowledgeable on new prospects coming in. Like for example, one of the names that was supposed to be huge last season, which he kind of had an interesting ride, was Cam Akers, right? Like with the LA Rams, he was supposed to just pop off, but the team wasn't really utilizing him that way. And then I think as the season went on, like injuries started occurring. Cam actually, I think, got injured for a little bit too, but then near the end of the season. So it was kind of felt like you were getting screwed over if you picked him up and you were putting him on the bench, because I know Will had him too, and it was just the same frustrations. But I love fantasy. I think fantasy football is the absolute best way to get into this sport. If you like sports in any way, shape, or form, if you are competitive in nature, like anything that I do, like Will, you're gonna clean the kitchen, I'm gonna clean the bathroom, but I can do it before you. Like I'm just so competitive that I loved that aspect about fantasy, and that's what got me into it and made me do all the research. And I completely agree that just comparing the two seasons, how we had a 10-person league and a 12-person league, 10-person was a lot easier and you were more likely to succeed. 12-person was interesting. I liked it. I'd
really
like to go
have
back to 12-person
grind
league.
in the 12-person
You do.
league. You really got to look for those like those breakout players on teams, and like those, and also like picking up people from that are replacing injured people as well. Like I think I did that in the first one of our first seasons. Someone got injured, and out of like not out of spite, but just to be a bitch, I fully took the backup off the wire and put him on my roster. I don't know.
That's not even
I don't know what
spiteful. That's
player
smart.
Do what you gotta do.
I do it all the time. I'm so
Yeah.
mean.
I
I'm
like
fuck you guys. I'm gonna take him.
It's so funny because like I used to be in so many leagues and I'm not competitive. Like I couldn't care less where I end. Like you guys can mock me if I end last. It doesn't bother me. Like I couldn't care less, but I love shit talking and I love just playing. Like I just love football, right?
Because I find there's always go
go.
I was just gonna say, I find there's always someone on our team every week, and it's like maybe different every week, that like someone's like, I'm gonna put this person on our bench this week, and they get like 40, 50 points, and then we all see it and we all get in the chat and we're like, dude, what did you do?
Yeah, and that's so much fun, and it's just fun to do. Although this year I think is the first year I won't be in other leagues. I should be able to draft live, although
I'm gonna try and make it so everyone can draft live. I
normally
it's most fun when we do it that way too.
Yeah, and I normally set up the list so the draft order should be it shouldn't have waited 2 minutes on my turn, which was weird because like I had it. You can set up lists, and I'm not sure if you figured it out with all the lists, and that should make it easier when you do care about the players you're gonna get. Because what I normally do is I just have all the wide receivers in my top left, and then top right is my running backs, bottom is tight ends, and then I have defense, quarterback over in the other areas. So that will be fun, and like. Because it's my only league, this no longer has to be my tester league. So I used to, for exactly your reason, Emma, when you're like, yeah, who knows if this guy's going to pop off or like what rookies are going to do anything. I used this league to test what the rookies were going to do or what I thought was going to happen. But now I'm not in a
drafting the rookies.
Yeah. So now I'm just
maybe just because I watch college, I see a rookie come up on my screen like heading up to the top of the list. I'm like, do I take this rookie that I've never seen play in the NFL before, or do I take the NFL player I know is going to do good?
Yeah, I'll also take like the randomest person just to see how they'll fit in my lineup in general. Like I'm full on about to take this league a little more seriously than I have previously, but I'll probably still come dead last. I will probably still be dead last, guys.
Milton's coming for the trophy this year. Probably not, though.
No. I'm coming for solid middle of the pack, guys. Solid middle of the pack.
Average. Woo!
Yes. Yes, and that is my hot take for this year.
Ew, is that your fantasy hot
That's
take?
my fantasy hot
let's,
take. I'll be middle of the pack, guys.
That is our topic for this episode. I don't even think I said it earlier, but we are going to give some hot NFL takes today, and we have Emma on the show because I love hearing her hot takes. And I think the first one we should dive into, especially because there's a lot of talk about him right now, is Aaron Rodgers. I know you have some feelings, all the feelings. I don't like that head shake. Do you want to talk about Aaron Rodgers?
Like, could you blink a little, please? Just everyone hates on me. Will hates on me. Mitch hates on me. Everyone hates on me. And okay, so something that I need to make clear about my hot takes is like, I'm talking to my butt here. Like, let's be real. This is not. I haven't
this
sat
is meant to
down
be
and
fun.
read all the analytics on the statistics on Aaron Rodgers. He's a very skilled player. But I think that when people are like, you know, amping him up, I guess, they sometimes forget to mention what support he has. Yes, there are a lot of holes in the Green Bay Packers too, but Davante Adams. Hello? That
Aaron
guy is
Jones.
a freaking unit. Thank you. Aaron Jones. Like, there are so many players on that team that really have helped Rodgers get to where he is. So I'm not saying that he's not a really good quarterback. He is, and I've had a lot of debates with some friends about rankings in quarterbacks or last season's rankings, and even if he got MVP, I still don't think he was the best quarterback.
Last year? Oh, yeah, he definitely was. Oh, absolutely. Last year, Aaron
I
Rodgers was the best.
just have a hate on Aaron Rodgers, so I cannot say those words.
Yeah, like,
He creeps me out, man. Like,
see,
a little. He looks so weird.
He is weird. I agree to some extent that, like, I agree wholeheartedly with you that his supporting cast is a lot better than seemingly anyone gives them credit for. I mean, Aaron Jones, Davante Adams, even their O-line at times has been some of the best ranking offensive linemen in the league. Like, he has what is necessary for him to be successful in the league, and that's why he's been so successful in the league. So that's why every time I hear that argument that he doesn't have a supporting cast, I'm like, well, that's not really true, but whatever. People can have their own opinions on that. But I think last year, in spite of not having OTAs, in spite of not having a training camp, in spite of them drafting another quarterback in the first round when they drafted up to get a pick in the first round, and everyone thought they were going for a wide receiver and they picked a quarterback. In spite of everything, you still had Aaron Rodgers, who to me is a Mount Rushmore quarterback. He is a top 5 GOAT type quarterback. He still made them play phenomenally. Like,
and I think it's funny that now, like,
great.
They drafted a wide receiver for him this year, and now he's like, well, I don't want to play for you guys anymore.
Yeah,
I thought that was a little weird, to be honest.
I think there's a lot more to
I don't know what
it.
the drama is behind that. Yeah, I think that there's a lot of behind the scenes stuff that we're not getting. It just it did kind of feel like it came out of left field. Like, was there ever any time last year where anyone was like, "There's no way"? Like, oh, there's a chance Aaron Rodgers is going to leave. No.
Last year, because they moved up to draft the rookie quarterback, but then they let him play the whole season. So it's like,
that's what I mean. Yeah, like, come the end of the season, you just got MVP. Like, why would you be going anywhere, right? Like, defensively, yeah, they could use some work. I don't know if he feels
like he's being pressured out because they drafted the quarterback and, like, he's doing so good. And it's like, that's great that you're doing great here. But, like, you know, we have this guy on the sideline here who, like, we really want him to play. So if you could just, like, that way, I feel like that's what's happening. And I feel really bad for him.
I think that if that were the case, Jordan Love would have dressed for more games last season. I don't think this comes down to them wanting to move on at quarterback. I do think this is now Aaron Rodgers does want to leave. I don't think he wants to leave because he hates the team. He hates Green Bay or anything. And I think that's why this is so awkward, and he might actually end up staying. But he's been on a couple podcasts recently, and on the Colin Cowherd, I forget his last name, but he's like actually a really famous analyst, so I should know that. But I was watching his show, and Aaron Rodgers was on it, and he was just talking about how it's about the people. There has been a shift in the people. And I think it comes down to just the culture is different. Like with the Patriots, we always talk about do your job. on to the next, like on to Cincinnati. You know, it's one step at a time. And that was very much a culture. And then Brady left. And there's been a lot more articles written about, well, is that culture still there? And that's a question New England's going to have to answer. Same way Green Bay's going to have to answer it. Like McCarthy finally leaving and having the opportunity to bring in Matt LaFleur as coach. That's huge. But that was their first or second season. I forget how many years LaFleur has been there, but like that's a new coach that you weren't sure how it was going to be. And new coaches tend to like to move on with the younger product. Now, Aaron Rodgers is a Mount Rushmore quarterback, so I understand why he's still playing. But no, I think he was an MVP last year. I think no one did more with less, unfortunately, and it kind of pains me to say it because Green Bay
Who
is
else was
not
in the
a fan.
conversation? Who else was in the conversation for MVP? Josh Allen? Herbert?
I don't
He
remember.
had a
Everyone-
great season.
Honestly,
Didn't Herbert win rookie? Did he win rookie quarterback?
no, rookie was Murray. No, Murray was the year before.
I don't know.
Herbert.
I feel like this was so long ago.
It was.
It just feels
Right?
like football was a lifetime ago.
It
Come
was.
back to me. I miss you.
Yeah, I can't wait for football. But like, I do think Aaron Rodgers, for that exact reason, his was the most memorable season too. Like, he's someone I can no doubt remember. He won the MVP and he was up for the MVP. Like, I remember their season, and the fact that I can't even remember anyone else's name in the MVP conversation from last year is pretty surprising. So yeah, but no,
Just
like,
quickly, you saying, oh, sorry, go
no,
ahead.
go ahead. You had a question.
You quickly saying, like, I can't think of anyone else. If I think of, off the top of my head, what performances come back to me from last year, because again, it was quite some time ago, obviously Aaron Rodgers is going to be talked about because he played really well. Josh Allen played incredibly as well, and then Justin Herbert, because no one expected that, right? So I think that those are three.
Herbert
and
was
then I'm
player of
just
the was rookie
I
player.
swear
Yeah,
that
he
you're
won.
in
right.
there.
I swear he won rookie player.
Yeah,
of the
you're
year.
right. You're right.
I'm like, because I feel like that's why he didn't get
Yeah,
the one
And
that
Allen did
Aaron
great.
Rodgers, like, yeah.
But I do think comparing Allen's performances, which is typically easier teams he's facing, to Aaron Rodgers, who is in the NFC, as much as I think we could argue now that the AFC is pretty equitable compared to the NFC. Aaron Rodgers is facing GOAT quarterbacks basically weekly, and Allen was facing a Jets team that can't do shit, a Patriots team that couldn't do shit. So like that's 4 games of their 16 game season were against
listen, I was
terrible
I was
teams.
riled up when I saw the Steelers schedule last year. I was just like, well, yeah, of course you're like 11-0. Look at who you're freaking playing. Like, it was just comparing the other matchups. It didn't make sense in my mind. And obviously, again, I'm going to keep saying this, like, I am talking out my butt here. I don't study it enough to know, like, all the facts on it, right? And the history of it as well. So to me, just seeing, I think that they were at a total advantage.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the Steelers 100%.
Was I the only one who loved watching the downfall of that season? Like, sorry, Rafaela, but that was like the funniest shit, watching them go from like 11-0 to like, they didn't even make the playoffs, did they?
No.
No.
They lost to the Browns in the playoffs.
Yeah, that was it. So they barely made the playoffs, but it was like they looked like they were like heading up to the top of the league, and then all of a sudden they just like fell off a cliff, and I was like, oh my god.
Well, they pulled a Toronto. Yeah, no, they pulled a Toronto Maple Leafs and choked in the end.
Too soon.
My
too
goodness.
soon.
This is going to really date this episode, but damn, the Leafs are how no, I'm not going to date the episode, but oh
Wait,
my
I got it. They do this every year.
yeah. Every year, and I was like, what? Yeah, they lost to the Steelers lost to the Browns 40
So they made it to the
37 in the
first
wild
round.
card. Yeah, in the wild
It was
card.
wild card. Okay. But there was like some they might have, they almost didn't make it. I remember that point of the season where it was like they were doing so good, and then it was like, are you even going to make the playoffs at this point?
Yeah, I think they went
lost to the
11-0 and
Browns.
then lost 4 of their remaining 5.
Yeah. Now I have a question for Emma because I've shared this opinion on an episode before, but do you have anything to say about the Chiefs' old O-line or their new O-line?
Do I have things to say? My heart is full again. I can go to sleep at night because Laurent Duvernay-Tardif is back, baby. I'm so
Can you say it
happy.
again? His name? Can you
His
say it again?
name with a French accent. Is that what you're looking for? Laurent Duvernay-Tardif. Or Laurent Duvernay-Tardif. Take your pick.
Can't pronounce it either way. I'm so sorry.
LDT.
AKA the doctor. So as Chelsea obviously mentioned, he took a step away last season to dedicate his time to what he felt was a priority, which was caring for his people and his community. And I'm sorry, but that man is absolutely incredible. I know Sports Illustrated, he was awarded a philanthropist award or something along those lines, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And completely deserved. I follow him on social media.
Same.
And you can just constantly see the work that he's doing and the care that he has for the people around him. So just to see how humble this man is, and knowing that Patrick's gonna have that coverage back, baby, because we're just not gonna talk about the Super Bowl from last year. He was literally Superman. Patrick Mahomes couldn't have done anything more than he did. He was defying gravity. It was ridiculous, and unfortunately, they just saying coming up short isn't even right. Like
He got blown apart by a 43-year-old washed quarterback, apparently. I'm going to make fun of you guys for that forever.
Oh, you're going to make fun of us with your
Because this is the second time Brady has beat Mahomes
I fully called him washed
in the
like 2 years
playoffs.
ago. I'll bite my
she
words,
deserves
I'll eat
it.
'em.
That's okay. I mean, I do have positive things to say about the Chiefs every so often. So don't worry, I'm not going to just constantly crap on them. But I will when I have 2 Chiefs fans right
like
here.
my boo Butker, the best kicker in the league.
Well, yeah, now that Vinatieri retired, that's true.
Tucker's up there, and so is Lutz, but I would say it's between them for top 3. I would still put Butker at the top, though. I think
Every
Tucker
year in the
and
fantasy,
Butker just
every year in the fantasy rankings, they like flip from 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Every year.
I had Tucker. I'm saying I had to pick. Like he was still a good pick, of course, but Chelsea scooped him up, so we had to become Mother Tucker last year because of you.
Sorry.
Tucker's coming home, baby.
You know,
Coming home.
Neither of us won anyway, so I don't know why we keep doing this to each other.
I mean, I finished higher than I did my first season, so I'm taking that as a win.
there you go. That's huge.
Projecting up is always good. But jumping back into fantasy really quick, do you have any fantasy players that are not worth your time?
Lamar Jackson. This man.
Shitting on
did
Lamar?
me so dirty. Little
If that's not
Lammy's
your
here.
fantasy team this year, I'm going to be upset.
I'm going to laugh.
Shitting on Lamar? Yeah, little Lammy over here was supposed to be my rock, be my sidekick, help me through this, just like Patty did the year before. And my boo Butker. What did I get from him? Shit all. You know who saved me? You know who is my saving grace? And I literally praise this man every day because he is a god. Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry is
like, God among
funny,
men.
It's funny because when you think about a franchise, right, it's normally the quarterback. You think of the Chiefs, you think of Mahomes, right? Well, the past it was the Brady for the longest time. Now with the Bucks, it's Brady. And I love Ryan Tannehill. I really do like him. My little Tanny, I love him. But Derrick Henry is the face of the Tennessee Titans. Yeah. He is a beast of a man. So yes, I was Lamar is just a really interesting way of playing. I wasn't used to it, and I guess I hadn't looked into it enough before drafting him. But of course, as I mentioned, I was on the phone with the insurance man, so I was a little stressed, a little overwhelmed and preoccupied. Yeah, you need to be able to legally drive, you know. So, Lamar's approach, he's like a running back quarterback, right? Like he likes to run the ball. And then he was not feeling so great. There was one game, I cannot remember who they were playing against, but he actually went to the locker room. Backup comes
I don't
out,
know who they were
boom,
playing either.
completely destroyed and wrecked. So he's off the field, and then Lamar just had to come right back out from the locker room. And I can't remember if it was COVID that he had. I'm really drawing a blank here, but he was struggling. Lamar comes back out from the locker room and just takes it for the win, and it was such an epic ending.
Nobody really knew why he had to go back to the locker room. Like he didn't get injured, he didn't get hit. So then all these like rumors surfaced that like he wanted to go take a dump, and like the relief from the dump made him a better player. And I just like honestly absolutely loved that conspiracy theory, so I will believe it.
I thought it was just that he was having issues breathing, so I wasn't sure if he had been impacted by COVID in any way. I can't remember. It was so long ago.
I don't think he was out last year due to COVID at all, from what I can recall. I mean, it's also a very likely story that he maybe needed like an inhaler or something, like he needed to go back and get medical attention for like breathing. But
no,
I just think
he had appeared. He tested positive for COVID-19, and he had been off on the injury or the COVID injury list, and then he had returned. So he was having lung issues. Probably.
He returned. I don't think he was gone for very long though, because I don't remember this at all. I mean, a lot of players got COVID though. So
yeah.
I will say hats off to the league, because I feel like they did do as best as they could to manage the schedule shifts. Who was it though? Was it the Browns that got was it the Denver Broncos that got absolutely wrecked when they managed to shuffle a bunch of schedules for one particular team, and then they wouldn't do it for the Denver Broncos, and they got completely shafted, and it was so funny.
Yeah, so the Broncos had lost all of their quarterbacks due to injury / COVID, and so they were gonna ask to they were trying to get their schedule pushed, and then another team, and I forget which team it was, but their quarterback got I guess initially tested positive for COVID, and they were waiting to see what the second test was actually going to say, and they pushed that game. They were able to push the game just a little bit, and that was because the quarterback mattered enough that they had to push it, because it was the quarterback that sells the tickets, and the game mattered at that point, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember that. That was ridiculous.
Yeah, it was favoritism. I don't know, from an outsider standpoint, it was pretty obvious that there was some favoritism going on there, and I don't know if someone said something, again, talking up my butt here, someone said something, or someone paid off someone.
But the Steelers also got fucked a lot last season too. And I know Raph's probably yelling at her computer until we were saying that, because
he has probably turned it off at this point. I apologize, Rafaela.
That was definitely one season where the Steelers, near the end, it felt like any time the league was making any semblance of a concession, it was at their detriment too. They would have to change when they were playing their schedule as well, because it seemed like every game around that time was getting pushed, and they were the team that they were being played. So it was God dang.
Yeah. It got to a point in the middle of the season where the whole schedule just got completely effed up, and it was we were getting games on a Tuesday, a Wednesday, at 3 p.m. on a Monday, or something like that. It was, I mean, yeah, it was awesome, because we're getting football on days we've never gotten it before. But now they're trying to balance when their next games are, trying not to put them too close, because that's why football games
and
only
recovery
happen once a week. And hockey games happen every other night, is because the recovery time is much different for football. So it's just balancing all of that and making sure that the players would be healthy enough, or that they would have enough players to play, or that their quarterback was okay. You gotta applaud the NFL for juggling all those kinds of factors into remaking the schedule as the season's going on. I want to move into a personal hot take that I have.
Okay.
It was one that I lived through, and
then I got the final hot take, because I have two people here for it.
Oh God.
I said it before. I was pretty pissed off when the Chiefs didn't draft Watson. I'm just who the fuck is this Mahomes guy? I think a lot of people, I don't think I was the only one. I think a lot of people were okay, interesting choice. I think everyone was looking at them to pick Watson when they moved up. I think it was up to 10 or something. They had jumped up to 10 to draft a quarterback. I was this is it. They're going to take Watson. I was so excited. And then they took it. I was absolutely pissed off. And if I could go back and slap myself for being mad about that, I would, because he just came out and shocked everyone. I don't think anyone was expecting Patrick Mahomes to do that. It was like Joe Burrow coming off of an undefeated season with the national championship, the Heisman Trophy, and now he's entering the NFL. There was no hype like that capacity to Patrick Mahomes. So when he came in and people were like, whoa, he's so good. Whoa, he can throw the ball. Like magic show, Patrick Mahomes, like Showtime. Was it show? They say Showtime, right? I think is the tagline they gave him. The whole the magic show, the whole first year he was the starter quarterback. Like that. I mean, it was nice for me. It was I thought he was going to be shitty and he ended up being great. I'm happy that was it wasn't I was so excited for him and then he flopped. So I'm happy I got to grow to love him. But yeah, I definitely did not think Patrick Mahomes is going to be the quarterback he is today. I didn't think he'd be breaking all these records. I didn't think he'd be an MVP his first season as a starter. I didn't think he'd be going back to back to the Super Bowl. I don't know if that's partly because of the team that he's on and the weapons he also has, because he does have a lot of players that help him be the quarterback he is. But again, you saw it in the Super Bowl. He's amazing on his own, but if your team can't get there to help you, you're gonna lose. Yeah, that was my hot take I lived through.
Yeah, I mean,
What about you, Milton? I want to know. I'm curious now.
I didn't even know who he was when he was coming onto the scene.
Yeah.
But in general, I don't know the quarterbacks coming onto the scene because I don't watch college. I do think that depending on where you got your information from, he was expected to do this well.
I think maybe it's just because I wasn't looking for information. I personally wasn't expecting him to do as great as he was.
No, and also
Yeah.
Not a shot at you at all. You are not the only person I've heard that exact same thing said about Mahomes. It was more just depending on where you read. Yeah, you had some analysts being like, this dude is the next, the second coming. Not necessarily to the extent he's going to change how the game's played, but he was the second coming. And in other projections, it was just oh, he's a dude. He can throw the ball. Quarterback throw ball well.
I think that's what that was the vibe around him, was he could throw the ball well.
Yeah.
But at that point it was that Deshaun Watson was the more talked about quarterback. So when they picked Patrick Mahomes over him, that was a big shock. At least it was definitely for me, especially being a Clemson fan. I was fucking pissed. But it's considering the circumstances now. I know he even got injured right before his second season or something. Yeah, injured in practice, missed almost the whole season or something like that. And then now you have this whole scandal around him, and here you have Patrick Mahomes, who is just
I think
an angel child. I don't want to go that far and say it, but he has this foundation. He loves Kansas City. He's a nice person.
He has his little baby girl.
He has a fiance, a baby girl. You know what I mean? It's just, I thought Watson was a great person before the scandal too. So I'm just hoping to say that Watson never has a scandal come about him.
Yeah, no, it's just funny because it's I don't want to shit on Mahomes because I do believe Mahomes is a great quarterback. He is phenomenal. Don't get me wrong. But you sound exactly like how I sound when I talk about Tom Brady. There is nothing that can be said that's going to change your opinion or move your hot take or anything. I think with the Chiefs, it was very interesting because they had a unique opportunity when Mahomes was coming through to trade up to take Mahomes, because the difference between Mahomes and Watson was Mahomes was seen as a project and Watson was seen as a starter. So why would the Chiefs take Watson when they had no intention of starting him that year? Right, with Alex Smith. Now, I know we could have an argument about Alex Smith, but in general, he was at least a sturdy quarterback. You knew what you were going to get from Alex Smith. So they had the chance to go, okay, let's take a project quarterback, quote unquote. And it's the same reason you'll see Aaron Rodgers and Jordan Love. You want these younger quarterbacks to learn under veteran quarterbacks, or at least quarterbacks that are viewed as someone that you can put into a game when everything else is going wrong. Right. So that's why Fitzpatrick still has a job. So it's
magic, baby. Oh,
it's
I
hard.
love him. I love him.
It's hard for hot takes like this when it comes from Chiefs fans, because it's just like me saying, I never would have thought Tom Brady was going to be
Oh.
the GOAT quarterback when he was drafted 199 overall. No, anyone who tells you that they thought this man was going to win 7 Super Bowls is lying out their ass. So that's the only thing. I do think Mahomes is fun to watch with what he's doing.
Absolutely. And I think maybe that's more or less the part nobody was expecting was like how like crazy his throws were going to get. Like you mentioned earlier, the like Superman throw in the
Yeah.
Super Bowl that like it didn't even get caught, but that was like in the highlight reel still. You know what I mean? Like he's still
He changed the game.
absolutely.
He's
Took the words
changed
right out of my
the
mouth.
game.
Mahomes is the type of player that now that he's been around a little bit longer, people are getting more used to his style. But that being said,
Mhm.
like his bag of tricks, it's like a magic bag
And
of tricks, you know? Like
it's
it doesn't
not
have a
just
bottom.
him.
He just keeps whipping out these things where people think like, oh, I can read him now. I know what to expect from him. But the reality is you really never know what to expect from him.
And you know what? That is also in part too is Andy Reid's coaching because they're even as a Chiefs fan, I don't know what he's gonna do half the time. I am like on the edge of my seat when like it's crunch time and like I'm looking at him reading his menu, and he's like looking for the right play. Like look at how big that. I think it's like the biggest play card I've ever seen. A coach hold because like it just his like not only is Patrick Mahomes' abilities to make these tricks are endless is that it's Andy Reid's bag of tricks that are also endless. So it's not only do you have the talent but then you have the brains of this head coach and it's so much fun to watch.
So I think
They
this
mesh
is where
really well.
will be a great time to get into the final hot take, which is my hot take. I do not think the Chiefs will win another Super Bowl during Patrick
I
Mahomes'
disagree.
tenures.
I think you're gonna eat those words
And
in
this
5
is
years.
no, but so Emma even touched on it is teams are learning. Teams are now learning how to combat Mahomes. All right. So that reduces Mahomes' factor in the game. Won't completely eliminate it, and I'm not ever gonna say it will. But Mahomes' ability
It's gonna make it harder.
is going to be, okay, reduce. Now, looking at the salary cap, I've taken all of your team's salary numbers, right? They have spent money on Hill, Kelsey, which is the correct move, absolutely. None of this is me shitting on the Chiefs. It's just financially, I don't think they have enough wiggle room to do what is necessary on the defense. And anytime we talk about Andy Reid's tricks, it's offense. Okay, I'm all about the tricks, but if you
And we do have
can't
people coming
protect
for
a
our
lead,
defensive coordinator, like they're
yeah, if you
I
can't
don't think he's
protect the
going
lead,
anywhere.
no, but that it doesn't matter. I don't trust your defense now. Like I don't
No,
trust
that's-
your
I'm
defensive
not-
coordinator either, right?
No, I'm
so
but it's that there's a lot of like ifs, ands, and buts on our defensive side, especially this off season because we're trying to fill all these pieces. We're trying not to go over the cap space, and now we have people interviewing our defensive coordinator for other jobs, like other teams. So there's like it's a lot of uncertainty.
That might be
Like,
a
it
good
doesn't
thing.
make me feel good as it might be a good thing. It doesn't make me feel good as a fan though,
Yeah.
especially when you're trying to fill these holes and then you're going to get a new coach. It's like, what if that coach doesn't?
but
Work
remember,
with
like
players well, right? Like you gotta. I feel like those decisions should have been made together. Like if you're gonna, I don't think he's going anywhere, which would make sense because you've just brought in all this new talent that you've probably decided with your defensive coach that you want to bring in. So why would you bring in all those players first and then switch out your coach? I think that's where I'm thinking.
Yeah.
I don't think he's going anywhere this year. I wouldn't be surprised
will
if he goes
next
somewhere
year,
in the next few
probably.
years. Exactly, yeah. But there is a lot of uncertainty on our defensive side,
So-
so it's easy to look and think about everything that Patrick Mahomes and our offense has done and be like, yeah, they'll be in another Super Bowl. But then
they'll
look
be
at
in
our
another
defense.
Super Bowl. Don't take that. I don't think they
That's- yeah, I wasn't
win
done
another one.
talking.
And the
That's
problem
where I was
is,
going. Is
yeah.
that our defense won't be able to win another one, especially if we keep moving things around like this. So they really need to find
Yeah.
a way to work with what we have now. And I don't think I think once we find all the right pieces, we'll be good to go.
but I think
That being said, though, I think that from 2 seasons ago, our defense did improve last year.
yeah,
So
Absolutely.
in the
Absolutely.
what year is it? We're 2021 now. So the 2020 season, the defense had improved from the 2019 season. That's not to say that they're where they need to be. Absolutely not, because they're kind of like Green Bay in that sense that it's
there's
not
a
balanced,
giant
right?
disparity.
And for you to be an overall a well-rounded team, you need to be more meet in the middle. Because if you've got this offense that's popping off, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if you've got someone like Tom Brady who's running circles around your defense, basically laughing at you.
Yeah.
Right?
It's not even just the Chiefs, right? So the Chiefs, we can absolutely agree. They're top tier offense, top tier offense. Absolutely. Their special teams, take away Butker. Don't give me he's a phenomenal kicker.
Thank you.
But take away Butker, your special teams. Okay, it's all right. And then
we
defense,
throw Tyreek Hill,
you're
we
all
throw
right.
Hardman on our special teams.
That's common though. Edelman was in on the special teams as well. It's now let's look at the other teams in the AF East or the AFC. Sorry, I keep wanting to think just the Patriots. You have the Titans. Okay, even if they don't add Julio Jones, you now have Brown over there who wears number 11. You have Derrick Henry. You have Ryan Tannehill, who are now 3 pieces that can still account for at least 2 of your pieces, right? Tannehill, definitely not as good as Mahomes, but Henry, I would put him up against any one of your running backs, especially because you guys need a third, you need a hard running back. You need someone who's just goes right through, and that's like a LeGarrette Blount from the Eagles or the Patriots, or I forget where he is now. But you just need someone who does that. So I'd take Derrick Henry over them. And then Brown is probably as good as McCall, not as good as Hill, but I think Hill, we could argue, once you double him, you have to be able to manage all single coverage on all your other receivers, which I think right now everyone can do. Okay, so let's move on from the Titans. Well, we have the Bills. The Bills are looking unbelievable, and that is a team that builds on both sides of the ball. So I just think the AFC is also starting to not only catch up or not only catch on to what the Chiefs have done so fabulously, they're also acknowledging both sides of the ball. And I say they won't win another Super Bowl to intentionally cause a rise. I do think they will be at a Super Bowl. I do think they're still cream of the crop in the AFC, but you look at the Browns. Okay, now you have Landry, you have to double potentially. OBJ, you have to double potentially. Yeah. They have Chubb in the backfield. I mean, Baker Mayfield might end up being kind of a quarterback that's middle of the pack with, I don't know. I don't know who his best comparison would be to older quarterback. But he's not Mahomes. He's not Mahomes. He's not Lamar. He's not.
He knew that in college when he stepped away from being his backup quarterback.
Exactly. So it's just one of those where, okay, but there's enough other players that I think he can still be efficient. And if you can be efficient against the Chiefs defense, all you have to be is stellar on defense, which sounds like I'm saying all you have to do. I come from watching teams that are typically defensive minded. So I'm used to watching it be a battle of, okay, can we keep you out of the end zone or can we keep you just kicking field goals? And I think if you're able to start doing that with Mahomes, now that you've learned what he's going to do and how he's likely going to do it, he can't do everything. And Hill can run as fast as he wants and run all behind you. All behind in the end zone. There's only so much field he can use his speed. And then you have, Mahomes can throw from any angle. His mid-range throws aren't there still. And I don't know if they're just not working on it with him because they're counting on that go of all or nothing or the dump off to Kelsey. That's the only thing that's where I'm like, I don't know if they win again after watching how thoroughly they got dismantled in that Super Bowl. And it's not
stop reminding
me. It was the offensive line, but you've just spent money that you didn't really have on bolstering that offensive line. Okay, where's the money for your defense then? And I had this concern with the Patriots a while ago in the reverse. It was all our money was on defense. Where was our money for offense? It happens, and they might just go and make a giant trade, and suddenly you guys have 3 amazing wide receivers, maybe give up Kelsey and get two phenomenal receivers, and then... No. But, you guys could make plays, and you guys could win another Super Bowl. But...
Oh, God, no, you could not part with Kelsey. Travis and Patrick just have such
Can I
an
at least get a
incredible
Travis
connection
Kelce
and
jersey first
bond.
before you let him
Yeah.
go?
Yeah,
No,
and he
honestly,
might
I
retire.
think that would be the worst choice.
Jeez.
That would be the worst choice. Like, they work so well together, and honestly, because other teams have caught on to the tricks, if you want to call them, they're doubling up, even tripling up on Tyreek Hill. So Tyreek Hill doesn't have a chance. So I kind of feel bad for him because the other players, the defensive players he's like up against, are doing their job so well on him that I'm sure it's only infuriating for him.
Yeah.
And then we brought in last year Clyde. Well, Clyde, you know what? I got to give it to him. He's solid for his size, but he's a small dude, man. Like, when you're looking at him on the field, he looks like a bug that's about to get squashed.
Yeah.
So sometimes he does really hold his own, and he did more than I expected him to do, if I'm being perfectly honest. So I was really pleasantly surprised. But we need an in-between. We need someone a little bit bigger than him. Like, I'm not saying we need a Derrick Henry, because that's asking for, like, the best that you can get, obviously, right?
We
need something that's got a little bit more to them, that can just get through there. And
we
please,
did
for the love
pick
of
up
God, protect Patrick.
Powell. We did take Cornell Powell, who is I think he is around the same height as McCole Hardman, and I feel like he is going to be like he's gonna go deep with Tyreek Hill. Like, this is what I see them do, is put them both deep, and then you can't protect them both, and it's gonna open things up for
you can. You just do
hopefully
cover
both of
two
them.
safety. You have two safeties up in the corner. So that's your one-on-one, and then you have your linebackers run in the shallow. So you can't do a cutback. So you
but I'm saying, if you have right now it's just everyone's focusing on Tyreek Hill. They might not even think about, like, Cornell Powell might not even be a blip on their radar because he's new. We don't have any tape on him in the NFL yet. So, I mean, he was phenomenal in college.
Absolutely.
And I watched a lot of him because he was on Clemson, and he was the one downfield. So he's not, didn't pick up someone to play the mid. I'm sure he could catch the mid, no problem. But, like, that man is meant to run down the field.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm like, are they going to put both? Like, I'm not saying, like, that's what they're going to do, but I'm thinking, like, is that what their plan was, to try and get Tyreek Hill open enough, or one of them open enough, by getting, like, two of them, and, like, one being a bit taller? I mean, I guess you need to help.
It's going to come down to the fact about whether or not you believe Tyreek Hill is better at catching the ball than a Michael Thomas, right? Who plays wide receiver for the Saints. Now, you can say what you want about Michael Thomas, but that man does not drop a ball, right? He's doubled, okay? But they also have had Cook back when this was 3 years ago, back when Cook was, a top of the line wide receiver. He was playing for the Saints. He also does deep balls. So the defense has already figured out how you play and guard against two prime targets that are long balls, because they run out of field. So there, it's just it's a product of math. It's like, okay, you have two triangles that go from center of the field, the hypothesis goes up towards the end zone, and then you come down the sidelines, right? It's a little hard to do this visually.
And she lost me.
I did do math.
And I was like, and I'm not listening anymore.
But basically, there's just not enough field to.
Yeah.
They stop being able to use their speed as an advantage. And the only reason I'm saying get rid of Kelce, it's not, again, it comes down to, you guys don't have money to lure free agents to you. So you're going to have to build through the draft or build through trades. Okay.
They've
then
been trading away a lot of draft
who would
picks.
who would you rather trade though? Like, you're not going to trade Hill, because as we've definitely gone on at lengths about today, is Hill's your deep threat. He is who you need with Mahomes. Absolutely. He makes, even though he didn't catch much in the Super Bowl, he still draws all the attention. So yeah, you keep him there. McCole, I don't think you get much for McCole. So it starts coming down to, you need to get a couple stars on your defense. The only way you're getting stars onto your team is via trade. So you're going to have to trade stars to get stars. And unfortunately, I was thinking Kelce might be your best bet, only because it comes down to, that man could get you multiple stars. And that's a lot of money that's then off of your salary cap. So then you could bring in other stars as well. And there are tight ends that you could be focused more on blocking, and then your wide receivers and your running backs could be the focus for the receiving core. So it's a little awkward. It's the opposite of what the Patriots do, but it's effective. It's extremely effective. So
Yeah, I just don't want to see it.
yeah, no, and it could be nothing.
I figured it out. So what they need to do is, in Canada, we have free healthcare, right? It's covered. So the doctor needs to start offering his medical services to the families of the players and be like, yo, you come over here, you help me, and I'll help you. And I got you covered, and your kids will be fine. Everything's fine. Not that these players don't have coverage, of course, but I'm just saying, free healthcare.
Yeah.
That's a good offer.
I mean, another important point to make too is that we did see a very big dip in the salary caps this year because the teams, like the league, wasn't bringing in a lot of money.
Yeah.
Fans weren't in.
Yep.
There weren't a lot of people at the games. This year, however, the cap space is expected to grow a lot.
Yeah.
So,
But with that,
you-
contracts increase as well, a percentage.
yes, I actually think I had it somewhere.
So focus on the percentage of money of cap space your team
Yeah.
has in 2 years, and it's not a lot, regardless
They
of
are
how much it goes
upping-
up.
The NFL just signed something to up the cap space for
Yeah.
the 2022 season. So I think it'll be interesting to see that. I don't think it's going to be enough to keep some people out of teams out of hot water with certain players, but I think it'll definitely be a key factor in what we see happen next year for the 2022 season with like the increase in the salary cap. So and it might even be bigger than that depending on what the revenue is. I don't know if they'll adjust it. So like there is, it's not that it's like, yes, as time goes on, it might get tougher to play with that cap space because, you know, as the years go on, you are going to have to pay them more money, especially if they get better.
Exactly.
If they do better, they're going to want more money. But then again, the league is also getting more money. So it's really going to be a matter of like how much money gets in and how much room you have to play around with.
Yeah, and I think my last thing on that though is it still comes down to how much money each team has to spend, because each team goes up by a similar percentage. So if I only have 15 million and you have 2 million and it goes up 20 million, that's 20 million for both, or a ratio of 20 million up for both teams. Mm-hmm. Let's say we're both going for Kelsey. I can still offer him more money than you can.
Yeah.
Right. So it's still going to come down to money in the long run. Like you guys won't be able to pull, and neither will my team. I think my team spent a lot of money.
Yeah. We just don't know how big that cap space is going to be next year.
So I think it's your GM that I'm shitting on the most is actually what I think this comes down to, is I really don't like the Chiefs GM because I don't think he built.
So basically you're shitting on the Hunt family.
Yeah. Just the GM. Just the GM. Your players are great. And it sucks because there are times that I'm rooting for the Chiefs because they're playing the Bills or they're playing they're playing teams that I will never ever root for in my entire life. I'm like, fine, I guess I have to go for Chelsea's team and I have to listen to her be happy about this. But then my team wins, so it's good. No, it's not. I just like shitting on people. People's teams, not people.
Well, I think that's all we have for our shitty hot takes today. Don't know if you agree with any of those. They were, like Emma said, kind of just talking out of our butt today, shooting the shit, giving our hot takes. We would love to hear your hot takes if you have any. If you have any comments about anything we said and want to throw them in the comments, we won't take offense.
Come at me.
Maybe a little offense. You can come at Megan, not me. I cry. But I just want to thank you, Emma, for coming on our show today. It was so fun having you on here, and we hope to have you on again. Ooh.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me. So in summary, Aaron Rodgers, please for the love of God, start blinking. Harrison, you're my boo. I love you. You are a good Christian boy with a great leg, so keep on rocking on. Patrick Mahomes is incredible. Everybody knows that. Eric Henry's a beautiful beast, and I love you, Tannehill. Lamar, we're no longer on speaking terms. That's what we're at.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll have you back once we do a little episode before our fantasy league starts, and definitely throughout the season as well. So you hear her every week, opening and closing our show, but you are definitely going to hear more of Emma on here. But yeah, that's it for today. So don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share. We're still trying to get on Spotify and Apple. If we have an update about that, we will let you know. It's been a lengthy process, but we are working on it. And we will see you guys next Wednesday.
See ya.
Bye.
Listen in to Primetime Dimes every Wednesday for your latest on football.